Hello, everyone. Today I'm with Charlie McKenzie from CropWalk and CropTalk. So Charlie has recently released with his team a new product, so that's why we are here today. But first of all, Charlie, can you give us a little bit an introduction about yourself, about what you've been building with CropWalk and CropTalk for the past 2 years, and yeah, tell us where you are right now.
Absolutely. Hey, I appreciate you having me on this interview, Sebastian. It means a lot, definitely. So when it comes to CropWalk and CropTalk, we started CropWalk as growers ourselves, wanting to help other growers really dig into the weeds of their IPM programs. A lot of growers are looking at integrated pest management as one of the options now for them to control their pests. And when it comes to integrated pest management, there's a lot of details, there's a lot of niches within that category that makes it difficult for growers just to pick up and start an IPM program and be really successful. We also know that there are growers out there who have been doing IPM programs for years, and they want more support, or they want someone that can give them some help or just a second opinion. And so we found that those growers needed a service that wasn't really out there in terms of the service that we thought they needed. And what we came up with was a pest management audit. And that audit essentially, before COVID-19 started, was where our team would go out for 2 to 3 days physically on site and spend about 25 or so hours at the maximum with the growers in their facility, going over a whole host of criteria that make up an IPM program. And we interacted physically there on site and got to view their facility, take tours, ask a lot of questions, see their process. And through that, we were able to kind of look under the hood of their growing scheme and their pest management scheme. And that gave us the ability to then make objective recommendations on how they can improve or how they can save money. And we provided an audit action report that details all the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the external threats that they could be subject to, and how their team is operating. And from there, we potentially would work with them more on a monthly basis, or provide training and different other value add services. And that's kind of where CropWalk was before COVID. But as you mentioned, we're kind of getting into a new product, and it's that audit with a spin on it. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But to finish answering your question, CropWalk is our IPM business that is focused strictly on IPM, and CropTalk is our media entity that is a platform for myself and other individuals in our industry that are curious, humble, and empathetic towards what growers go through. And those individuals, including myself, get an opportunity to interview and speak with, either through a podcast or video, different growers, different business owners, different folks that are really making a difference in our industry or have a different point of view. And so CropTalk has grown over the past year and a half, and it's something that we're really prideful in the fact that it's kind of abolishing knowledge silos and kind of allowing tribal knowledge to not be the only way that you get information, and allowing for a community to be built on knowledge sharing and transparency in our industry. So we're really thankful and grateful for all the folks that have helped us and come on to that podcast and supported us. Sebastian, you've been a big supporter of ours since we started our business, and I've really enjoyed watching where BugVision has gone and collaborating with you. And so we're really blessed and excited for the future. Like I said, COVID is taking a toll on everyone and kind of changing business as we know it. Whether it stays that way or not, it's anyone's guess. But right now, I think the most important thing for us is trying to adapt, because we certainly don't want to die. And I think that there are chances out there for small businesses to not survive this. And so we're trying to adapt as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of CropTalk, and it's usually my partner when I'm driving alone in the car. I put it on my headset and I'm just listening. And we'll put the link at the end of the interview so that
Awesome.
if some wants to connect to it, then they will be able to. So coming back to your IPM guided audit, so you're telling that right now you will try to implement a way to do it more remotely because of COVID, and just to try keep going in the current situation.
Yeah, I think that us being most of our team being in the millennial category, we've always been fond of using technology for connecting with each other. One thing that's interesting about CropWalk, it didn't start this way because Jason, the co-founder of mine, and I lived together. He lived with me and my family of four in our house in Florida when we started the business. But then, about I want to say 7 or 8 months ago, he transitioned out to California, and we recently took on some other partners who are in Northern California, and they've been a massive addition to our team. But we're all working remotely, and so using different technology has been a staple in our business from the get-go, trying to understand how do we connect remotely with growers. One of the products that we use is 30 megahertz Zensi platform to help us understand what's going on in the grower's environment from a sensor readings basis and climate control basis. And then we use technology like yours, Sebastian, to be able to understand what's going on from a scouting perspective and a pest pressure perspective in a grower's crop. And so we realized that technology from the get-go and from the founding of CropWalk, that technology was massively imperative. However, growers, as you know, and I'm a grower myself, if I can have someone come out to my greenhouse and walk through the crop and spend time with me and come for a visit and me get to show them what I'm so passionate about, it was really valuable as a grower to have that. And so we saw that a lot of growers that we worked with really wanted us to be on site, and they thought that for our audit process it was important for us to really see what was going on and really get a look under the hood, like I described earlier. All that being said, we can't get out there and do that right now, and I think as the restrictions change with COVID, if travel bans and if social distancing starts to be reduced, I still think there will be some psychological change in our population that says, I don't necessarily want as many people out to my operation. Growers could be more reluctant to have folks come visit regularly. And so with that being the case, and like I said before, with us realizing we need to adapt, the IPM guided audit has become something that we've developed really in the past 4 to 6 weeks, and we're still developing it. We're collaborating with some growers to help us develop it and get the kinks out of it. But essentially, it's covering all of the same aspects that we covered in our traditional audit, where we were on site with the grower. However, we're going into those discussions via video, or video like this, where it's live and we're connecting over a GoToMeeting or a Zoom call and discussing different things, or the grower is filling out questions via a written response or a video response. Some things need to be explained with sight and with context and with video, and so we're sending the growers technology to be able to capture those things and be able to show us what's really going on without us physically being there. Now, all that being said, there are kinks we're working out in terms of, are we able to see all of the things we need to? Do we need to ask different questions, or how do we communicate differently while we're, hundreds of miles away via video and via written discussion. There are things that are different that you don't pick up on. So we're working through those pieces of the puzzle. But we think that with all of the technology that we have at our disposal, and the fact that there are growers out there who are willing to put in the time and effort to do a guided audit, essentially that grower through the process will learn how to self-audit their own greenhouse. And so we're going to do an audit with them, and they're going to get the chance to see how it goes with us throughout the process, and us give them a really good action report at the end on how they can get better, how they can save money. But that grower is going to have a tool that they're going to have forever to be able to go back and say, listen, a year and a half ago, we had CropWalk come out here via a guided audit over a virtual sense, if you will. And now I understand how to do that. We're going to go do our own internal audit and figure out if we're on track for that. So it's a tool that growers can use down the road. And it's also something that we think is valuable in these times when it comes to, not being able to get a second opinion like we traditionally had, and be able to have someone come out and see your crop. We're trying to get over that stumbling block through the guided audit.
Yeah, personally, I still think that getting somebody from a consultant from the outside, having a look at the crops and everything is all the time valuable. And
Yep.
because when you are in your greenhouse all the time, you don't see everything. Like some things you're so used to see it that you don't see that's wrong.
Yep.
And it's always valuable to have somebody coming from the outside. Talking about that, do you see your product sometime being licensed to some external consultants? Like imagine some consultants watching this video would be interested in being licensed using your product or your service, and being part of the development of it. Like, do you see it coming? Do you think you
Yeah,
can develop that?
absolutely. I mean, originally when we founded CropWalk, we had an idea in mind of bringing in different talented horticulturalists or entomologists that maybe hadn't ever started a business before, or didn't really want to do the X's and O's of sales, or do the X's and O's of accounting, and things like that. And they really just wanted to walk crops and talk about the crops and help them get better. And so we initially have developed CropWalk in the sense that over time we would like to see other independent consultants come in and influence CropWalk and also influence our business, whether that's through them bringing in a new territory, a new part of the country where they're going to work out of, and they're going to take the technology and the systems that we've developed at CropWalk, and they're going to go implement them through a licensing agreement or some sort of profit sharing partnership. We're trying to stay creative and make sure that we can be agile and pivot which way we might need depending on what the opportunities look like at that time. But in no way, shape, or form do we want to keep this in a box. We would like to develop a service, and if it's really valuable for growers, there's only so many places that I can be, there's only so many places that my partners can be, there's only so much time we can spend on a video screen talking and doing a guided audit, even if we're not physically there. So we want to be able to give those resources to growers, and it seems like one of the ways that we can do that more rapidly is through a type of relationship like you're describing. And we would like to be able to give those independent consultants the support on the things that they're not good at. And traditionally, as an independent consultant myself, it was hard when I first started to understand sales. It was hard to understand marketing. It was hard to understand the accounting side of it. Luckily, I have really good partners in CropWalk, and they can do things that I can't do. which is hugely valuable to me. But I know that when I was on it my own, it was difficult. And so we'd like to kind of take some of that guesswork out of it for a consultant that is a good horticulturalist or entomologist, a good grower that wants to really just walk the crops and be able to implement a system that helps growers. So that's the end goal. I mean, at this point in time, I think that that's probably at least 6 months to a year out before we really get to the point where we're bringing someone in that sort of relationship. Mostly because we want to make sure the service is as valuable as it can be. One, for the growers, and two, the service that that independent consultant would be out there, providing is really something that they can be proud of as well. So that's kind of the goal, and I appreciate you asking that, Sebastian.
Yeah, and when you from my opinion, when you look at it on a long term, that would be good to have as many growers and greenhouses and farms audited, so that you will be able to establish benchmarks and everything, and you will be able to get even better at highlighting the weakness and the strength of the growers. So that always help to have more data and more information to get
Exactly.
so,
I mean,
but
the more greenhouses you see, the more differences, the more new processes, the more challenges you come across, and I think it's a lot of growing is about either you physically doing the repetitions yourself, or you having someone share what's happened with their experience and understanding it well enough to take that out there and affect change in someone else's crop that has a problem. So you're right. The more repetitions, the more crops, the more problems, the more quality of a service I think we can provide.
And also I think that the service you're now providing as this audit is really disruptive product, because like most of the consultants are doing an audit, like thinking of when they are scouting the greenhouse and visiting the greenhouse, most of them are already doing it, but nobody is writing it on paper, and nobody is making sure that is stopping at each step or each question or each and maybe they might be missing some points or some interesting things in the greenhouse. So I think that will be really really a disruptive approach, and really interesting product for everybody.
Sebastian, I think you're right in the sense that when it comes to a growing environment and producing a crop, there are things that are not what you would think are a part of your IPM program. For instance, your irrigation strategy, how you're irrigating, what the system is for it, what crops you're irrigating. All of those things are definitely affecting your pest and disease pressure depending on how you're doing it. And so, like you described, we're going through 13 sections or criteria of what we consider an IPM or a cultivation strategy is made up of, and by getting the context of the entire operation from the staff and the management, the budget, all of these pieces that traditionally aren't even considered when it comes to how do I solve my aphid problem, we're understanding the operation at a very, very detailed level, and getting that insight allows us to then go to the root cause, get to a root cause analysis, and as opposed to using a buckshot and shooting a bunch of pellets everywhere and saying we solved the problem, we're looking to have a silver bullet and a sniper rifle to say, hey, this is how you can solve this problem, but it's because we went this many folds back.
Yeah, like you're coming with the wide range of questions and for the farm, but at the end, by highlighting the strength, you that's nice to know that
Yeah.
You have that, but that's not where you're going to work. But highlighting the weaknesses, then you remove all the noise of all the question you had at the very beginning, because you just have like a couple questions to answer and to improve.
Yep.
And then that's where you work. So that's really smart. So thank you very much, Charlie, for being on the interview today.
Oh yeah.
We'll do maybe another one later, and to check how it goes and everything about this new product. If some people want to reach you, what would be the best way? I know you're on LinkedIn a lot.
Yep. We're on LinkedIn a lot. I would say sending me a message, a direct message on LinkedIn. I'm checking my inbox pretty regularly, and I try to get back to folks as quickly as I can. And then if you really want to get a hold of me quickly, my cell phone number is 470-302-5940, and I'm open to having a phone call discussing what we talked about here today, but also if you think that you'd like to collaborate with us and be some of those handful of people that are helping work the kinks out or influence our guided audit process, please let me know. We're looking for growers who are interested in improving their operation and would like to give candid feedback on how the audit performed for them. So if you're someone like that, please let us know. Otherwise, holler at me, and I appreciate the opportunity a bunch, Sebastian.
Yeah, so then yeah, I will at the end of the interview I will write your phone number, all your links, and also I will add the kind of report chart that you are giving to your growers, so that people will have a better idea of what the results of the service you're providing.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, and yeah, we'll talk later again about this.
Wonderful. Thanks, Sebastian. To all those folks out there, high five. Hope you're doing well. Take care.
Okay.